morning of Yom Kippur at the Heaton Park Hebrew congregation in Manchester, a gathering for forgiveness and reflection turned into a scene of terror. A car hurtled toward pedestrians. A man leapt out, wielding a knife. Within minutes, lives were lost. 2 worshippers struck down in the name of hate. But was it only one man acting alone? Or was something darker at play beneath the surface of this quiet northern city? Stay with me, because what happened that morning is not just a story of a single attack. It is a story of a city shaken to its core, of a community forced to confront its deepest fears, of investigators racing against time to uncover hidden motives. It is also a story of bravery, of loss, and of questions that still hang unanswered in the cold Manchester air. What drove a British citizen of Syrian descent to carry out such violence on the holiest day in Judaism? Why did police believe he was wearing an explosive vest, only to find it was fake? And how did the swift actions of synagogue security and congregants prevent even greater bloodshed? October 2nd, 2025, was a crisp autumn morning in Manchester. Leaves clung to branches in shades of orange and gold. The Heaton Park Synagogue, nestled in a quiet residential area, had been a gathering place for generations. On Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, its halls filled with men and women deep in prayer, reflection, and fasting. The atmosphere was solemn, sacred, calm. But at 9:31 a.m., peace shattered. A dark-colored vehicle sped toward the gates of the synagogue. Witnesses said it came out of nowhere, fast, erratic, relentless. Some thought it was an accident, until the car deliberately swerved toward worshippers. In seconds, bodies were struck. Cries of shock and fear filled the air. And then the driver emerged. He was armed with a knife. He lunged toward a security guard at the entrance, trying to force his way inside. The quiet prayers within were suddenly drowned out by screams outside. He tried the doors. They did not give way. Locked, barred, defended. Inside, people had seconds to react. Doors slammed shut. Children were pulled close. Congregants whispered frantic prayers, their hearts pounding. At 9:31 a.m., the first emergency calls were placed. Panic surged through dispatch lines. There's a man with a knife at the synagogue. He's stabbing people. He has a vest, maybe explosives. Police scrambled. Armed officers were dispatched immediately. By 9:34, they arrived on scene. By 9:38, gunshots echoed to the quiet neighborhood. The attacker fell to ground, neutralized by police bullets. 7 minutes. That's all it took for lives to be ended, for others to be scarred forever, for the city of Manchester to enter mourning. 2 men were killed that morning. Adrian Dalby, 53 years old, remembered as a family man, loyal friend, and respected member of the community. And Melvin Kravitz, 66, who had come to pray and never made it back home. 3 others were wounded and rushed to hospital. The synagogue's walls became silent witnesses to grief, and the attacker shot dead at the scene. Yet his death brought no relief, only questions. Who was he? Why did he attack? What did he hope to achieve? Police later identified him as Jihad Al-Shamie, 35 years old, a British citizen of Syrian descent. He had arrived in the UK as a child and gained citizenship in 2006. To many, he was just another neighbor, invisible in the bustle of everyday life. To authorities, he was no one special. His name never appeared on terror watch lists. He was not flagged by counter-terror programs, and there were no public signs of extremist leanings. At least, none that anyone saw. But on Yom Kippur, something inside him ignited. Investigators quickly moved in. His home was searched. Devices seized. Phones examined. Every message, every search history entry, every email combed through for clues. Who had he spoken to? Who had influenced him? Was he radicalized online? Was he part of a network? Or was this the lone decision of a man driven by hidden rage and ideology? Early reports claimed he wore an explosive vest. Bomb squads were deployed. Residents were evacuated. Panic spread like wildfire. But later, police confirmed the vest was fake, non-viable, a bluff designed to spread terror even further. Why wear a fake bomb? Was it to ensure police would kill him? Was it meant to terrify onlookers into thinking this was part of something bigger? Or was it part of a twisted fantasy of martyrdom? In the midst of this chaos, heroes emerged. Rabbi Daniel Walker and synagogue security personnel acted swiftly. They locked the doors, refusing to let the attacker inside. Their courage, their presence of mind, and their refusal to yield likely saved dozens of lives. Imagine if the attacker had breached those doors. Inside were hundreds of congregants, vulnerable, unarmed, gathered in prayer. How many more would have been injured or killed had those seconds of defense faltered? Those trapped inside huddled together. Some lay flat on the floor. Some whispered prayers under their breath. Some sent hurried text messages to loved ones. There's an attack. We're hiding. Pray for us. Outside, first responders surged forward. Neighbors rushed out to pull the wounded to safety. The city, in those brief minutes, held its breath. By midday, police confirmed what many had already feared. This was a terrorist attack. Counter-terrorism officers took over the investigation. Arrests followed. 2 men in their 30s and a woman in her 60s, detained on suspicion of involvement. Were they accomplices, supporters, family, or simply people swept up in a dragnet of suspicion? Their devices were seized, their homes searched. Detectives mapped networks, traced phone calls, reconstructed the attacker's movements in the days and weeks before the assault. Yet for all the evidence collected, one question lingered. Why? Why target a synagogue on its holiest day? Why here in Manchester? Was it simply because they were Jews? Was it ideology? Revenge? Or was it the twisted decision of one man, acting out of delusion? The attack did not happen in isolation. Across the UK, anti-Semitic incidents have been rising. Online spaces buzz with hate speech and radical propaganda. Global tensions simmered. For many, this attack was not just about one synagogue, one day, one man. It was a symptom of something larger, something spreading. And then came the most chilling revelation. Among the victims, one may not have been killed by the attacker at all, but accidentally shot by police in the chaos. The details remain under investigation, but the possibility deepened the tragedy. In the rush to protect, in the urgency to neutralize the threat, a mistake may have claimed an innocent life. In the aftermath, vigils were held, flowers piled outside the synagogue gates. Candles flickered in memory of Adrian Dalby and Melvin Kravitz. Their names were read aloud, their lives honored. The city of Manchester mourned as one. Leaders spoke in unison. Prime ministers, mayors, religious figures, all condemning the act, all calling for unity, all promising justice. But behind the words, fear lingered. Could it happen again? The government responded swiftly. Security at synagogues and Jewish schools was increased. Police patrols intensified. Meetings were held with Jewish leaders. Promises were made the community would be protected. Yet many still asked, why had it come to this? Why were synagogues, schools, and community centers forced to be fortresses? Why must worshipers pray behind locked doors and security guards?